Hey everybody, welcome on in to a very special Live at 5 here at Clay Share. I'm Jessica Putnam-Phillips, and tonight we have a special guest joining us. We have Alexandria from Alexandria Pottery Co. joining us, and she is going to teach you how to make a hand-built cappuccino mug. Now, there's lots of hand-built cappuccino mugs out there, but none like this. She has these amazing forms that she's going to show you a foolproof way to make your own mugs. And I'm so excited for these because look at, I mean, you can imagine, right, what this little cup is going to look like how sweet this little baby is. Or, you know, you want to make a latte, you can do that. Oh, and there's other size too, right here. All right, so Alex is going to be doing this tonight, doing the demo and teaching. I'm going to be moderating, hence the computer. If you have any questions or comments for Alex, go ahead and type it on in. I will relay that information to Alex so she can focus on her tutorial tonight and teach us all how to make these fabulous cappuccino mugs. So let's head on out there and see how Alex is doing. Hey, Alex, how's it going tonight?
Yeah, good. I feel like a weather person. Like we just did like a, back to you, Alex. Okay.
That's right.
Hi.
I like your
Hi,
shirt,
everyone.
by the way. That's very nice.
I know.
Yes,
I had the hard
my Clay Share con on tonight too.
Yeah, we're kind of matching. I was like, which one do I wear? So
you went with the darker. I went with the bright green. So
I think I need more colors. I usually just get one, but that's like silly.
Well, let's chat after.
Let's talk about clothes. Okay, yes. Hi. Okay, so hi everyone. Thanks for having us. We love being back with you. It's like our favorite Wednesday thing to do. And I think we just spent a lot of time with a lot of people at Fired Arts, and that was really fun.
Yes.
So let's get into the cappuccino mug. I have a finished example, and then I've got a couple like extra things that we can do, because if you have not tried this yet, they build up relatively quickly. So then you can kind of start adding like little extra things on there too. So the first thing I want to mention is that we do have templates for our jigs under the extras portion on our website. You just go under templates, download them. This one, for example, you have to cut 2 in tape. So when it says 1 of 2 are not complete, that means that you need more than 1 piece. Once I dial in this template, then I put it onto a piece of craft foam or a piece of plastic to make it more durable. But we do have templates for all of our forms. And if you are not familiar with our forms, they're super easy peasy. I would just give you kind of a tour of the jig. We call them jigs because you're able to make a lot of the forms consistently, and I think relatively quickly, which is nice. So this is our cappuccino form. We did base the large size off of a traditional cappuccino, which is kind of a big drink. This holds about 18 ounces, 18 to 20. So if you really, depending on how much foam you want and things like that. But someone was saying like maybe a soup or ice cream. The ice cream bowl mug are kind of a thing. That was the theme this year. So it can hold a lot of coffee in this one. So we made 3 different sizes because not everyone wants that much coffee. I don't know what's wrong with them, but they don't. So I just have kind of some finished examples too. You guys can ask me about those as we go along. And we are going to make a sweet little saucer for our cappuccino mug. And I'm going to teach you how to make just a quick spoon because it's a set and, you know, holidays are coming up. So gift buying season is here, and sets like this are always a sweet little addition to markets and online. So we are going to just use some scrap up and make a spoon, which I think is a lot of fun. And clay spoons are just kind of cute little add-ons that people just grab at the very end, which I think is really nice. Okay, so today we are going to make the large form. We do have a regular and a petite. I'm going to set those off to the side. And just before we get into the main make of this, I want you to, if you are following along or if you're building this at home, get your handle started because we'll need this to set up. I often will make these forms and then put handles on tomorrow. But you can, if you want, do it all in one day. You just have to make sure that your handle is good to go. However you make your handle, I pull the handle. This one is a slab handle. And I can explain, I think we've gone over that a little bit. I have a couple videos on that, but when we get to the handling section of this, I will kind of explain how I did this one out of the slab. And then I have my saucer cut out here. So still a little wet because we're going to want to shape that. And what I did is I used our saucer cutter from the nesting mug set. So the 3 sizes of the nesting mug saucer cutters work for the 3 sizes of the cappuccino, which I thought was really sweet. This one's kind of set up. You can see how cute. And then I did a little frilly job on there because I'm kind of extra sometimes. So I've got my main body cut out. I have my bottom cut out. We have bottom cutters that you can get with the combos. If you don't want to think about measurements, these come automatically, allowing you a 1/4 inch clearance there for your bottom. It will always be bigger than the form. We get a lot of questions about that. It has to be bigger so it accounts for the clay that you're putting alongside of the form there. So I've got bottoms cut out. I've got tops cut out. I've got all my stuff cut out. I've got all my little puzzle pieces over here. So what we're going to start with, and Jess, I'm going to start with a funny story for you. I love your Scandi birds. Where's my little mat? Let me see. This guy? I've been rolling it through the slab roller.
Yes.
I keep building these upside down. Like I'm not paying attention. All of my birds, I don't know if y'all, maybe Scott can, we'll switch camera for you.
You're making some upside down mugs? Is that what's happening?
You know what I think? I'm going to show you. I think it's
they could
because
be a
when
wide
I
bottom mug.
Yeah, when I drink, I want to see the birds. I don't know. So all this to say, if you are using a directional pattern, we build this mug upside down. Please learn from me. I have a couple. I'm going to keep the set because I already have 2 bowls that they're upside down also. Anyhow, if you have a directional pattern, just make sure it's going in the correct direction. Be better than me, please. Okay, so I have rolled my texture through the slab roller as I have been doing. We can go to the other camera, babe. We'll get up close and personal. We're there. It's that time of the show. Okay, so I've got my texture on both sides, which is completely optional. This is something, can you switch? Scott's on camera. Let's see what we can do. I think we've got a little camera hiccup. This one. Yep. Okay, so whether you want to put texture in or not is completely up to you. This is a texture that can look good going upside down or right side up. So if I make a mistake on this one, it's not such a big deal like upside down birds. But what we want to do is build with our widest part of our jig facing down. It's just more stable, but remember that your cup will end up looking like this, right side up. So I've got my template cut out, hello, and then I added 1/4 inch extra clay on either side. I recommend doing that with our templates. When we make them, they're exact to the form, but they don't account for the clay that you add on. So you want to make sure that you are just giving yourself extra and you're able to take away versus trying to add clay on, which I'm sure we could all tell a lot of stories about how we had to add some extra clay in somewhere to make it work. So save yourself the heartache and make sure you've got your extra 1/4 inch. I'm not going to bevel my ends just yet. We'll do that when we're on form. And I did have, I have been overbending, which is taking the clay and pre-bending it. I'm not going to do that now because I don't have my rolling pin out. But if you are having some trouble with your form not quite staying round or your seam is kind of puckering and pointing, overbending, which is just pre-rolling your clay, can be helpful for that. So I add cornstarch for my release agent. Our forms are really I think very easy to use, but they start to get frustrating if your clay is sticking to them. If your clay is too wet and you don't have enough, or if you just skip the release agent step, you can run into issues with your clay sticking to the form. It's okay. It usually happens once and then you'll never do it again. Just cut your clay off and throw some cornstarch on there and then rewrap it again. But I don't skip this step, even in like all year round in my studio. I always use the cornstarch because I just never want to deal with the hassle of it being stuck. So I've frosted my cake. Someone said, Jess, at Fired Arts, they said, frost it like a lemon bar, which I loved.
Yeah, I like that too.
Exactly right. That's like the exact amount of powdered sugar you'd want on your lemon bars. So if you've ever had a lemon bar, that's what's up. You're going to want that much cornstarch. And as far as wetness, sorry, I missed this in the beginning. My clay is still kind of floppy, but it's not so wet that I'm leaving behind fingerprints. So it's still malleable, but you can use fresh clay for this. You just have to make sure you're adding enough of your release agent and just account for the amount of squishing. You know, you can kind of distort your pattern or distort your shape if it's too wet. But I have done it fresh from the bag, so it's possible. And then I am going to bring my banding wheel over here. If you don't have a banding wheel, no sweat. You can we use paper plates at Fired Arts, which was really great. So anything, a piece of cardboard, anything you can use that will help you to scooch your clay kind of in that round motion so we can reach the whole thing. Okay, so for our cappuccino form, because there's really not a ton of construction here, we don't have any wild angles or anything, I am not going to button up the seam like I usually do before I shape. I'm going to just come in here and start using the warmth of my hands. I'm going to reverse it here a little bit so you can see. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure that the clay is touching the form. Voila, all the way around. Don't do this at home, kids. And then I'm going to start using the warmth of my hands to just start pressing in that slope. So what we want to do is to start to feel the jig through the clay. It's one of those things where until you feel it for yourself, it doesn't really make sense, but you can start to feel the resistance of the jig coming through the clay, which is kind of neat that you can feel that. So I'm going to just keep this open seam here. It's crossing over, which is fine. And my cornstarch is in here, so nothing's really going to stick. And then I am going to guide the seams so nothing is slouching too much in the front. If this part makes you uncomfortable, you can attach your seams maybe halfway up and then finish the shaping at the top. But I find for these forms, it whips up so quickly that you can kind of just get around that extra step. But I am allowing the clay, if you can see, I am allowing it to cross and to move into itself as I'm applying pressure from the outside. The clay will displace because I'm pushing the clay. It needs to go somewhere. In this case, it's trying to stretch inward. Keeping that seam open just is helpful for me so the clay can keep moving. And I'm just going all the way around, gently guiding in this shape. You can start to see it comes up really nicely right here. And bonus, the big one is the hardest one. When I did, here, I'll show you. Anytime I make our little tiny guy, this step is so easy. You can just kind of give it a little hug and it's already there and so sweet. I mean, this is like a good scrap clay
So
project
cute.
too. It's so cute.
I love it.
I have to just kind of brag on my tiny one for a second. Look at this template. It's itty bitty. This is how much clay you need to do that, plus your bottom piece. So like all those ends of the slab, I just kind of make these, like those end pieces that you really don't know what to do with. Perfect, perfect for the petite. So anyhow, the large one is the one that's going to take the longest to get this top scooped in. But as you can see, even this is not hard work and it's enjoyable. I really like just using my hands. You can use a clay paddle for this. You can use a roller for this, anything that you're comfortable with. But I like the warmth of my hands against the clay because it kind of gives it that molding and that sculpting effect. So now I am almost in complete contact all the way around. There'll be a little gap towards the seam. So I'm ready to get rid of some of this extra clay here. Now, right in here, I want you to see where I'm pointing. See how this piece goes below the jig? We want to make sure that we are cutting all of our clay so it's staying above this bottom line. If we leave that down there and we cut this big piece of clay here, that's going to be exposed. And that's just going to give us some issues when we're adding our bottom. So it happens sometimes, roll with it if it does, but I always try to keep all the clay above the rim here so that when we put our bottom on, it's nice and level. So I am going to cut where this is meeting the jig on this side, and then I will match up my other side. And while I'm doing this, Jess, if anyone has any questions, I feel like I'm kind of talking jumbly
We
today,
got a couple
there's
questions.
probably some
So
questions.
I got a few. So one is, do you know how many ounces each size holds?
Yes. So it goes 18 to 20 and then 16 to 18. And I think our petite is 12 to 14, but Scott's going to fact check me
Oh, he's gonna go
here.
pour himself a little something,
Yeah, he's going to he'll
right?
give us the real information. Yeah, I know the big one's 18 to 20, which is kind of insane, but
That's
it's like,
giant.
I love a big mug. And people really like that too. And the cappuccino is kind of it's just a big drink in general. So as Scott pulls that up, I'm just going to, and if I cut a little short, I just push right against the jig and
Well,
it
that
brings
leads me
all
to the
that
next
in.
question. Someone was
Yes, my dear.
asking, does forming the clay against the jig distort or change your pattern at all?
It does not. What a great question. Here, this is when I put it in on the inside, this is all squished. And sometimes I mean, this is pretty thin here. Um, if I cut too short, I'm kind of clumsy. You know that already, right? I think you guys know that about me. I'm kind of clumsy and I'm not like a big measuring person. So I'll just start like cutting clay off. It's just like stuff's flying everywhere. And if I make a mistake and I have too wide of a gap, all I do is come in here and just keep squeezing the clay. And because the form's on the inside, it stretches. So I just have to make sure I'm stretching evenly so I'm not having a thin spot. So often I do that and I never lose pattern. But caveat, I roll this through my slab roller, which gives it a super deep impression, which is why I can handle my texture so much. Did we disconnect or are we still in? Okay.
We're
Scott's
still good.
He's
We're here.
he's looking for the capacities. So if you are rolling in texture or putting in texture any other way, make sure your texture go heavier on that. I would just kind of like really give it a good squish with your roller because as you're handling this, but like I said in the beginning, I'm not leaving behind fingerprints. So I think one of the other reasons why my texture stays intact is because my clay, I'm not really disturbing the texture because it's not too wet. Does that make sense?
Perfectly.
Sweet friends. Okay, 8 to 10 ounces for our petite.
8 to 10.
Yep, 14 to 16 for the regular, and then 18 to 20 for the big boy here.
All right.
The biggest one. Okay, so that looks good. And I always like our question and answer time. I think that's the fun. That's like the most fun for me.
So it would be petite, and then you would have grande, and then what would be the big one?
I know,
Extra.
right? Like the Starbucks
extra,
terms. So
like-
large is the largest. Our regular is the middle size. And then our petite is our little guy. Okay, so I've got this bevel cut in. We can still chat. I'm just gonna score and slip this and put this all together. Any other questions for me?
And so the templates are available if folks that match with the jigs.
They sure do.
So you guys go to alexandriapotteryco.com.
Templates.
You go there.
Under our extras.
Go under extras. So you call it extras. We discuss this all the time at ClayShare, what we should call the extra things. And I call them resources, but I don't like the term.
Extras.
I kind of want to call it extras too.
Call them extras. It makes good sense because, and then everything can go under there, you know?
Right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not just resources. It's
It's
I mean,
all of
everything
it.
else is a good title too, but
I know. That's
so go to
my
extras,
bio.
folks.
That's also where you can learn more about me. Extra Alex.
That's right. The extra is Alex.
Okay. So I'm all buttoned up here on my seam. And then I can, if I'm feeling bulky in there, you can come through. I use this little 1.5-inch brayer. Oh, yep. So the slip and score. Okay, thanks. Oh, Scott's the best producer. Kevin, you're the best producer. You're both the best producers. So Scott wants me to remind you, and this is a really great point. When you are slipping and scoring and when you are applying, I use a vinegar slip, or if you're magic water or whatever, apply it to the outside. You want to avoid liquid between the clay and the jig. If the liquid, which mine, actually, I think I got a little bit in there, so I don't take my own advice. You guys might watch me cut something off the jig for the first time ever today if it's sticking. So anyway, you just want the moisture to stay on the outside. So avoid kind of any of your slip going in between jig and clay. You'll be just fine. Okay.
You want more questions? Because we got more.
Yeah, I'm just going to cut just so everyone knows what I'm doing. I'm just going to start leveling off. Just start leveling off the bottom. Go ahead, honey. What do we got?
So the question we have is, you roll your texture mat through your slab roller with your clay at the same time. Yes. So in doing that, what thickness do you start with for your clay, and what do you set your slab roller to? You knew that was coming, right? You knew.
Yes, I did. So what is it, 3/8 that we do?
Usually 3/8 of an inch is how thick I roll mine.
3/8, yep. My initials. So I actually do a double roll. So my first, when I get all my little slabs rolled out to just, knock a bunch of them out so I have them on hand, I do them thicker. And then when I come through, I keep the same setting, but then I add in my texture mats, which knocks off about 1/4 inch.
Right.
So I actually end up, because yours are a little bit thinner than my silicone ones. So I end up, I think somewhere between, whatever it is, between 1/8 and 1/4. Good luck.
I think Kevin will tell us the math.
Kevin will tell us.
I've just stopped doing math at this point in life.
Yeah, I don't either. But I do, what I guess I would say to make it easier on you all you sweet people, is roll your slab to whatever you normally roll it. And then put your slab in between your little Just templates here, your little rubber mats, and then roll it back through at the same thickness and see what happens. Start there. And then if it's too thin, then you know through your second roll that you have to kind of bump that up a little bit. But I would say roll your normal thickness. Go 3/8, be safe. Our jigs are designed for a 1/4 inch slab going all the way around. I go a little bit thinner, which is why sometimes you'll see my bottoms fit a little bit big because my clay goes thin with the second roll. But I'm a special case. Remember, I'm extra. So start with your normal deal and then roll it through. Same, don't move your slab roller, don't change your pressure, and then roll through with your little texture mats and see what you get. Jump off there. I think that's a good starting point.
And then you have amazing texture on the mug you're working on now. What texture is that? Folks want to know.
I know, inquiring minds. This is
exactly.
There's
You know,
no
I said that to my
name.
daughter last night. She had no idea what I was talking about.
Oh, but you know, she doesn't know. Inquiring minds. Uh-oh. Scott says he doesn't know what we're talking about either.
Oh, no.
So this is from Amazon, and this is a fondant. It's for cake. So it's a fondant texture mat. And then what I do is I order 2 of them. And then I lay my regular slab. I cut it out. I'll use this as a template, or I'll use our template. Cut it out so it fits right in here. And I've got videos on this, you guys. So if you really want to see how I do it, check it out. I've got like a full-length tutorial, and then I have reels and shorts on how to do this. And then I sandwich them through. Sometimes I mix and match just for your textures. I've been pairing up these 2, the little Scandi birds, and then this little kind of quilted one. I don't know what that's called, because I think they're cute together.
What is that one called? That's not the cottage flowers. That's the patchwork.
Patchwork, yep, because it's got the little mushrooms and everything.
It's the patchwork.
The patchwork, yep. I call it the quilt one, but you know what I mean. Yep, the quilted patchwork, same deal. So then I kind of pair these up and I'll put 1 on each. I like having alternating a different pattern on the inside and on the outside. Sometimes I'm matchy-matchy. Mostly I just kind of see what mood I'm in and what fits. So yes, texture is a whole thing. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say so, but Pottery Toolkit, they're gonna try to do something that I can put through the texture or the slab roller. I think they're gonna put a 17-inch. Yeah. So that's kind of exciting. So anyhow, now I'm gonna come through. I always do an angled cut to make sure my jig is nice and in contact with the clay, and then I'll come through and I'll commit to my flat cut. So I'm just holding my hand nice and steady. You can't see it, but my elbow is anchored into my body here. And then I keep the same angle, spin my little cappuccino mug around. And this reveals to us that we're not quite as close as we thought, which is why I do this twice. So cut once, squish, cut another time, and then come in. And all we're gonna do here is just make sure we're hugging that curve. We're just encouraging. We're encouraging this clay to just stay this shape, please. Ask politely. While it's on the jig, I'm going to go ahead and score it. And then I'm going to keep the jig in. At this point, if you want to remove it and put it on your rim cone, you can do that. But I'm going to keep it in here while I'm working on the top. And all I'm going to do is support it with my opposite hand here. And then I'm going to twist just a little bit. I don't want it to come all the way out. I felt that release, and then I'm going to bring it just a touch lower so I can get the little foot on there. Sometimes I do this when I don't want to bump my shape. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But for the cappuccino, because it behaves so well, I leave it on there, and I'm just giving myself a little bit of clearance so I can add my foot on there. If it touches the jig while you're doing it, it's not a big deal. You'll just have to work a little harder to get that suction unsuctioned. Okay. So I've got my score marks. I'm going to put this little guy to the side, and I've got my foot here. I cut this out at the beginning. I like to sink my foot in a little bit. If you want this to be completely flat, I would wait until you can hold it in your hands and there's no sag or no bend to it. So I'm almost to that point. I can feel a little bit of softness and flexibility in here, but that works for me because of how I finish my foot. So if you want it completely straight, I would let it set up until it does not sag in your hands. So I am going to score the inside of this guy. You don't have to move the cappuccino. I just like to use the banding wheel when I'm doing this because it makes it easier for me, but I could have easily just done this in my hand and kept the mug on here too. So I use my vinegar slip, which is white distilled vinegar, and just a little bit of my clay body. This is standard 112. And in my little clay pot, I have standard 266, which is my other clay body that's a little red when it's not dry. So if you see a little red clay on here, it's okay. I'm aware of that. But they play well together, so I don't mind that. All right, let's bring the cappuccino jig. I'm able to handle that a ton and not squish it out of shape, which for clumsy potters, where are my clumsy potters at? I'd like to know who's in the club. Who's in the club with me?
So I'm really clumsy with a lot of things in my life, but not too much with pottery.
Good, okay.
So like there's the only thing though. Everything else, all bets are off. But
Okay.
in clay land, I'm the most graceful thing on the planet. But everything else, forget it. I can't walk.
Okay, good. But your pots look really good.
They got something going for me.
Oh my gosh. I think being clumsy I just like had to figure out how to fix things all the time. So like I'm always gouging or knocking, so I have to figure out, I'm like, okay, how do I get myself out of this now? Okay, so I faked my foot, so I pop in my little bottom like that. This isn't too bad. If you have a lot of extra overhang, like if your clay got a little thinner and you're not quite matching, sometimes I'll come through with the knife. I don't really need to do it much here, but you can come through and take off some extra while she's bottom up, or you can do it when we flip it also. So that's nice and attached there. We're gonna put more pressure on it as we flip. So that's why I like to keep this in here sometimes, because I can do this little thing. Just crack I can just like, whoa. And then I'll end up dropping it and, that's what I get for messing around. So anyhow, I've got it here. You can give it a couple taps and then we are going to address the bottom. I'm going to leave this guy in until we're ready to do the inside seam. Where's my shark fin? Okay. Here's our mini shark fin foot tool. I like to, with these wider forms like bowls, the soup mug, the cappuccino mug, I like to start with the little rounded part facing up. So this will be at the bottom, scraping off, and it seems to remove a lot more material. You can start like this, I do that often, but this is more going to smooth and seal. Right now I want to just take off a little bit extra, so I'm going to use that little hump there. And then let's see if this is always kind of the finicky part, because I don't know if you can see much what I'm doing. So are there any more questions? Well,
there's a lot of members of the Clumsy Potter Club, just so you know. There's a lot of folks who are in the club. And I won't call any names out, although if you post it with your name, we're going to see it.
I won't see the comments, right?
No,
yeah. Oh, bummer. Okay.
You will on Facebook, but on ClayShare. No, Kevin can grab the chat and add it as a PDF after, and then we can put any pertinent links.
Yeah,
that's something they're still working on on ClayShare. On Facebook, the comments will be there, and on YouTube. But on ClayShare, that's a feature we're trying to get them to add. We're like, hey,
but that's like half the fun for us. Like we're weirdos, right? We're like,
I like the comments being available. Too. There's a lot of really good information in there. So someone just dropped their textured greenware tile in a bowl of water. So, and folks love the shark fin tool.
Oh, good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why were you over water? I want to know what kind of extreme pottery.
Maybe cleaning the edges of a tile. Right, yeah. Right. Oh, like you're over water, like you fell off something into water yourself.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Just walking around with some greenware and maybe fell.
I have dropped a whole, when you're glazing and you're dipping in your glaze bucket.
100% no.
And I've lost it. And I'm like, does it just stay there?
No,
I'm going in.
Yeah, I've been dipping a bowl or a cup into a 5-gallon bucket and it just goes bloop right to the bottom. Yep, and then basically you just pull it out and I just wash it off and let it dry a couple days and then start over.
There you go. Yep, just accept what has happened. It doesn't have to end there. Okay, so what I will say is, as my little form was in when I was putting my foot on was great, but if your top wasn't level, you're removing the jig's ability to just stay flush with your clay. So I've been making a lot of these and I know that they stay really level at the top. I don't know what it is about this form for myself, but if your clay is not level, I would recommend coming through before you add your bottom on and just coming through with your knife, and then you can just scrape off and it will level this off for you, which is, you can see that example in all my other videos. Most of them, I do that. So while my jig is still in here, I am going to just take my little speedball brayer and I'm going to soften up my lip here a little bit. This is just pre-worked before I come through it leather hard and take a sponge to this. And this kind of diffuses my texture, which can lead to some cracking if you have deep texture going into your rim. So I like to stay ahead of that a little bit and then just give this, sorry, I'll go lefty maybe so you all can see what I'm doing. So I'm just taking this around and I'm just pushing it against the jig. I'm not really squishing it too much out of shape. I just want to round off that edge. And then I can do a little bit of my sponging while my jig is still in there. So we've already released the jig. So that suction has already been broken. But if I didn't do that before, what I would do is just twist this back and forth until you feel the release. Take your time at that step. We're putting a lot of punishment on the clay, a lot of pressure. If you have enough cornstarch on there, she'll come right out. So as soon as I feel it give, I pull it out. And then for live's sake, I'm stuck to the bottom here, which is a good thing, but I want to lift it up so y'all can see. Because when I was shark finning the bottom, it kind of pushed a little bit of clay. So there we go. How pretty. And
it's beautiful.
Thank you. I like the texture on the inside. Look, it kind of looks like a flower. I never noticed that before. Okay,
it does.
So I am
Very
going
nice.
to just now take care of this inner seam here, which we don't have our overhead camera today. I'm so sorry, but what I want to show you is dangerously hold this in my hand. What I'm doing is I would spin this on my banding wheel and I'm just taking care of this bottom seam there. We've already compressed a ton from the outside. It's really well attached. We want it to look good and we want to make sure we're picking up any extra slip in there. We don't want to leave any moisture in there because that's kind of bad news for cracking. And then I'm going to address this vertical seam here. You can use your finger, a red rib. Because I don't want to disturb my texture too much, I'm just using this little Kemper sculpting tool here that has kind of this nice little rounded edge. I found this when we were at, what pottery did we go? North Carolina. I was pottery shopping in North Carolina and I found that little tool down there. So I'm going to take my little slippy brush and get in there with just a little bit of vinegar. I don't want to introduce too much moisture down there. And then I'm going to soften this seam. This is all finishing work. I will come back at leather hard, but I do want to make sure that I'm closing that up. And as far as the seam goes, I really don't lose a ton of texture. Here's my seam right here. It does disturb the texture a little bit, but not so much. It still looks nice in there. So
very nice. Now, folks were really interested in your little green round thing on your bat.
Where am I? Oh, our banding bat. I was like, who am I?
Like, what is this? The little green round thing, alien?
So
no.
Scott was sick of watching me chase my insert around. And then so this is our banding bat.
You sent me one, didn't you?
Yeah, he's got one. Yep, and we've got a couple different sizes. So basically what I was doing was this, which is fine. But I was always,
and I was like, I put little shelf contact tape, like the little shelf thing, but even those don't hold it that much. Like it only too much pressure and it's going flying.
It really does. So I tried taping, like I tried a bunch of stuff, but with clay dust, like nothing stays. So our banding bat goes right on there. And then this fits a Studio Pro 6-inch insert. And she just pops right in there and it's nice and easy. So it's not going to go anywhere. You're not chasing your little insert around. Okay, I think, am I running long? Because
you're good.
I want to,
You're fine. You cover what you want to cover.
Well, do we have time for saucer? Maybe we might not get to spoon, although the spoon is pretty easy. I think, let's go for it. But Jess, you just cut me off when you've got to go get dinner or something.
No. So if those of you who are watching, there's not a prime time tonight. We did put a post out on ClayShare. Okay. So I'm not doing another broadcast. This is it. You're it today.
It's me.
You're the star.
Okay.
It's you.
All right, good. I'll take 5 extra minutes. Just kidding. Okay, so this is the saucer I made earlier to fit. That's kind of set up enough. How sweet. So this is the large nesting mug saucer cutter, and then it fits our large cappuccino. So the large fits the large, the regular fits the regular. And then I think the petite or the medium will fit the smaller size. I'll put some details up there. So what I had to do, because I didn't have enough clay, I had to splice two pieces together, which is okay. Sometimes I do that and it's fine. As long as your seams are really nice. Oh, wait, no, that's just two mats put together. Just kidding. I didn't have a wide enough mat to cover this large saucer cutter, so I put my two mats together. I'm like, how good am I that there wasn't even a seam on the back? That's because that's just a little ridge from both my mats meeting, which is fine. You don't have to frill it up, and then it gives you this nice little center point so you know where the center of the saucer is. And I will show you on the softer piece of clay. So it starts off completely flat and then gives you that nice little center cut there. And then this one, this is maybe the one I spliced. Okay, so what I do here is optionally, you can use your finger or any tool. I use our foot tool number 1 because it has this really nice swoopy part. And the swoop, we want to swoop here. So just pick a spot and then we are just going to start going around, holding the clay down from the middle, because what we want to do is keep that center part flat, but start bringing up. Is this even a good view? Can we, you guys tell me. I'm going to slide in and see if I can give you a better
Yeah, it's good.
view. Okay, so all the way around, this is going to give you a very organic shape. If you are looking for something really exact, Jeff has a bunch of rounds that you can press into foam with his forms that would work beautifully for this. But because I'm going to frill up the edges and kind of make it a little more organic anyway, this is how I do it. And then I just keep going around until I have the amount of lip that I want. So that is going to be an aesthetic choice for you. You will be picking up these little ribbons of clay here, and that's not a big deal. Trim it, make it a little bit lighter, and then you'll just have to wipe the bottom down for any ridges that you leave underneath. So round and round we go. And after I do this about, I'd say 3 or 4 times, well, fast forward, I take my hands and you've got that nice little marking in the middle. So I put my finger on the marking and then I start lifting up the lip just to encourage that up a little bit. And then we keep spinning this until it gets flared up the way I want it. So you could leave it relatively flat, depending, like, are you putting a biscotti there? I don't know what you're putting on there. I hope you are, some kind of biscuit or something.
You know what I'm going to put on there is I just got some gluten-free brownies sent to me. And okay. Thank you, Diane, for the gluten-free brownies.
Oh,
and they're huge. I will share them when we come back to me.
My gosh,
they're
yes,
gigantic. I don't know. Alex, you might be able to see. Can you see? I can't me. Look at the size of these brownies.
Oh my gosh.
They're like
so she baked those?
No, she sent them from a gluten-free bakery called Kickshaw's.
Oh my gosh.
It's an actual company.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Wow, those look amazing. That's like chocolate on chocolate.
I'm gonna have a cup of like peppermint tea and a brownie after. That's my dinner.
Well, that's okay. So you might need a bigger saucer for that brownie.
Those brownies are huge, but
listen, you have a saucer for your cappuccino and then a little side plate for your really giant, delicious brownie.
But make a set, right? That's the point. You make your cup, you make your saucer, make a little plate to go with it, right? Perfect. You make everything. You have a nice little set.
Your little spoon.
And then make a little spoon, right?
Yep. Okay, so there's our brownie saucer. I'm just going to go ahead and change the name. So brownie saucer, if you want, I was thinking about this today, and I sometimes think that techniques are obvious, but if you've never done fluting or just like pinching your edges like that, you might not know what that looks like. So I'm just going to show you how I do it. By no means is this the best or only way, but what I do is I make a little U with my finger and then I kind of pull opposite. So I will support the clay here and then I will pull, and that creates that. And my finger, the next little U will start where this is curving up. So I'll put my finger there and then in between, and then you can kind of decide distance. See how that happens? So then this next little up swoop is where my finger will go and then I will pull. So you're always kind of pulling the clay at the same spot and then you just continue on. And if you are super duper lucky ducky, you will end up in the same spot. But let's just face it, clumsy potters don't ever end up in the same spot. So then when I get there, so this is my last one, I'm going to make a little bit of a wider U and then I'm going to bring that in there. So
but nobody knows. Nobody's going to notice. Only you know, and we don't tell. So
we do not tell. And that might be a little wider wave, but I'd rather have it wide and evenly spaced than it get really weird in there. And that's how we frill. And then this is where we put our biscotti or our gluten-free brownies that lovely
That's
people
right.
send. Okay, I should have done this on a wear board. I didn't. I am gonna lift it. It will give a little bit. It'll be fine. I'll dry it really flat and it will be okay. Okay, so let's do the spoon and then we're done and then we can hang out. All right, so for the spoons, I have a series. I like to pick up wooden spoons. It's like, if there's a wooden spoon for sale, it's really hard for me to walk
You
by.
seriously have a cookie cutter in the shape of a spoon?
I know. I'm going to tell you about this.
What?
Here, I'm going to slide this way.
I mean,
like,
I usually make them from a coil, but
yeah,
that's
no,
game
no, no, no. I'm going
changing.
to show you all that. So this one was handmade. This was a gift.
Uh-huh.
I think actually both of these, and you can see like the carve marks. So I'm a sucker for a wooden spoon, but I use these as little templates. You could probably find a spoon template somewhere. This is from Hobby Lobby. This is for pouring chocolate spoons for like hot chocolate. So like peppermint or something like that. Did I lose you? Can you hear me still?
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay.
I'm like, no
So,
way. I'm like,
so
do you
yeah,
make a
I found
spoon out of
this.
chocolate?
Yeah, so people do that, which I'm like, good for you.
Where have I
So it's
been?
kind of like in the chocolate spoon section by the cutters there. I don't know if people would use this for chocolate per se, but that's where I found it at my Hobby Lobby. But I'm sure you can look up spoon cookie cutter. So what I do is I take, when I have all these, this is an example of like an extra that I would have, just the end of something that I cut off. I already have all this gorgeous texture in there. And you know how much I love reclaim. So I do the ninja thing where I'm like, how can I use the most of this clay absolutely possible so I don't have to reclaim it? So I will, where is my press and seal? I ran out of saran wrap in my studio. And so I started using press and seal and it lasts longer and it's like less sticky. And so do you know what press and seal is, Jess?
Yes.
Like, okay. So I didn't, it just never sticks onto itself either. You know how cling wrap, like saran wrap, like once it
Yeah.
touches, it's like it's the end of the world. This doesn't do that. So if you want to, I don't usually do it for my spoons, but if you want a more rounded finished edge, you can absolutely do the traditional cutout. But I'm going to skip, I just want to give you guys a tip on press and seal. So, okay. Scott says Debbie has a spoon cutout too. So go to
Debbie's got a
Debbie's.
spoon cutout.
Yes. Okay.
You can
Well,
get a spoon cutter.
I
And
need a
I'll find
red
one on
one.
Amazon and toss it up in the clay
There
share
you
shop
go.
too, for those of
There
you
you
that
go.
maybe not are in the US or something. Although you'd
Yeah.
have to go to the non-US Amazon. You guys can find it.
They'll be fine, right? You guys, they're I think pretty easy to find. So this is a shorter spoon. So this would be great for like our petite. And then I don't mind pushing this back out because I'm gonna actually mold this into one of my my wooden spoons anyhow. So there's my little spoon shape. If you wanted to leave this flat and maybe do a little hanging or something, you could do that. That's cute. I grab just a spoon that I like the shape of, the dip of, and then I will put this over, decide which side of your pattern you want to be up and down. And then I just bring this little guy, hello. I don't usually hang it in the air, but I just push in with my thumb here. That gives you the spoon part of the spoon. that's the
Spoon
spoon of the
part.
spoon. Yep, that's the spoon. So now we have a little
Yeah,
scoop,
that's great.
and you can like dry it if you want that little curve, you can dry it like that. If you want it straight, you can dry it like that. You can do whatever you want. Or you can take a spoon like this, and then I take my knife. Uh-oh, here it is. And you have to figure out which way you want your texture because we're going to keep this stuck onto the wooden one and then smush it in from the back. So if, like in this case, I like the texture I had on the front better, I want that facing out because that's the texture you'll see for the spoon. So, and then I just kind of in my scrap clay see what fits, and I'll grab my different spoon collection. I'll see what fits on there. Sometimes I cut the spoon shorter if I need to. I'll alter the shapes. I made a little set of clay keys like this once, just cutting them out. And don't worry if the top, this part here is fussy a little bit. I come through with a cookie cutter, a tiny one, and I smooth that out. I just gouged my pot over here in case you guys didn't see that because I'm clumsy.
You can fill it in.
Yeah, it'll be fine. That's why I
This
use
is
so much
fine.
texture so you can't see all of my nail marks.
No, you can't
Okay.
see it at all.
So I cut it on the table like this, flip, and then I'm going to use my finger to put the spoon part in the spoon part. And then I'll kind of follow the curve of this. And if I'm not happy with how this top looks, Let me just grab any round cutter will do. And then I just come in here and snip off the end. If I want to add a hole like the bigger ones I make, so if I'm recreating this one, I will start adding the hole while I have the spoon back on there because these are so fragile. This is actually the thing that I lose the most of, excuse me, because they get so thin in here. Like once you put too much pressure on it, they'll just snap when they're greenware. It's kind of crazy. So make a lot, but assume that you'll lose a lot too. I don't clean up any of these edges until they're hard. And then I'll just pop this guy off. And because the clay's been sitting around, it's not like incredibly sticky or anything. There we go.
So yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think it's great.
Easy.
Easy, so easy peasy. Question about your spoon cookie cutter. How big is it?
Scott will tell us.
All right, Scott will tell us.
Sounds like something Kevin knows.
Yeah, I know, right? So, folks, if you go to Amazon and you search up a spoon cookie cutter, and though Debbie has one, you might have hers. They also have knives and fork cookie cutters. I don't know what you could get into trouble with if you buy those, but I think you could get in a lot of trouble. I think I'm going to have to buy a set.
I didn't even think about that.
There's only 20 left. I'm buying one right now. Sorry, there's now 19. I totally.
I'll catch the next wave. Okay,
no.
4.5 inches long. And I'd say probably about 1 inch.
And they're okay, good to know. So
do I have a finished one? Maybe. Oh, how do I glaze these? So people always ask, how do I glaze these? So if I have a really cool texture, I will glaze the entire thing. Look, it's your little mushrooms. This was scrap that I made from your little quilty one, your little patchwork. Anyhow, I will wipe back if I don't want to fuss in the kiln. And that's plenty fine. People aren't usually using these for like everyday eating. You can, my kids do. But, you know, these are mostly just decorative or like to stir coffee spoon or something.
Yeah.
But if you do want it completely glazed, you would just glaze it all the way. And then you would have to stilt them in your kiln, which I do. And they're small enough. I don't usually get any slumping, but then you do have to kind of grind down your stilt, the sharpness, because people can be putting this to their mouth. So you want to make sure that that's as smooth as you can. So I either wipe back or I stilt in the kiln. For the tiny little spoons. Okay, any questions?
So we have a question, but it's a big one. I don't know if we have time to do it all. So someone wants to know the finished dimensions of each of the cup prior and after drying with a shrink rate of like 12%. So I think that's
sweet. Will you email me?
Please email. That's a lot. That's a big
ask. Yeah. Please email me.
Not that she doesn't want to tell you.
I only want to tell you. Yes.
You only want you to know. Nobody else is going to know. So do you ship international?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Yep. Yes, we do. We, I know with the situation with shipping right now, we still have our flat rate, and our material providers have been really great, and they've been really gentle with price increase and things like that. So we're not increasing our prices for international. So right now we are still able to keep our flat rate. But what we do ask our international friends to do is to make sure they know their local post policies with duties and fees, because we don't know that. So you've got to look into that, and then let them know that we do not have any metal. That has been a big thing, especially for Canada. There was like $175 duties upcharge because they had it marked that there was metal in the package, but we are completely metal free. So if that is helpful, please mention to that when you are picking up your package from the post that there is no metal in there. And then we can disclose. We've had a couple people ask us for like a materials. If you need to know what we use, we can send that to you so that we can get the best prices possible to you.
All right. Folks have some great suggestions. They have ladle stilts that they use for firing glazed spoons. You could put a hole in the top and hang it to glaze if it's not too big. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a lot. Oh, where did you get your wooden spoons though?
Oh my goodness, my wooden spoons. I can't even remember.
Just here, there, and everywhere?
These were homemade. These that we got at a market that we did. And there was someone there selling these gorgeous, I should have bought more. I regret it. But so it was just like a fellow market salesperson.
Marketeer,
thank you. And then these,
I don't know.
I know, a mouseketeer.
The Musketeer, a marketeer.
The marketeer. So then these are
They're
from
wearing a
Hobby
hat with
Lobby.
ears.
So I got these guys from Hobby Lobby because that's where I go. They think I work there. I don't. Because I'm always in an apron and I know where everything is. So these are Hobby Lobby. The big ones were from a fellow marketeer. Yes, and then I have an assortment. I've got some stashed away too, but you can find them like at antique malls. I'm
Yeah.
sure you could get them handmade online too.
I have a tip for making a spoon mold. I'll have to share it with folks.
Ooh,
I don't think
yeah.
I've shared it. It's actually, I don't even know if I have the mold here. It
Like a
might be in my,
plaster mold?
no, it's no, it's just
Oh,
it's clay, but I'll
okay.
you make your
Let's
own
see
bisque
that.
mold. Yeah, we'll do that.
Ooh,
It's
oh,
one
a
of
bisque
those,
mold. That's a good idea.
it's like a 1 minute video if I actually just did it. So what are we doing
We
tonight in
have a
prime time?
list. Do we
Oh
have a
gosh.
list of 1 minute videos? Okay, I do want to say people ask,
Yeah. Oh, handle. Are you
with,
gonna put the handle on now?
oh, I can if we have
Get
time, but
the
I wanted to show you the
We have
soup mug
time.
and the
We'll make
difference.
time.
Okay.
I think folks would like to see the handle.
So
Show us.
cappuccino versus
Hmm.
soup. Okay. So soup looks like the soup actually holds less. Soup holds 18 comfortably. This holds 18 to 20. So you can get
Okay.
actually more in because I think
Yeah.
the height, but you can see where this could totally soup mug it. So if that's a difference. So
That's
that's
nice. That
either
looks
one.
like a huggable mug, doesn't it?
You can
It's
even
like,
put a cappuccino. You could just ice cream for all. Okay, let's get this handle on. I think what I'm gonna do, my mug might be a little soft, but we're still gonna go for it so I can let you know. I've been toying with putting my handle not over the seam because I think I'm just with the drying process putting too much stress there.
mm,
So I have been offsetting or maybe putting it kind of I don't want it to be what people see. I'm trying to think and talk at the same time. I don't want this to be what people see when they're holding their mug and they're looking in. So either I'm going to put the handle where the seam is, or I'm going to put it for a right-handed person facing their body. So as they're looking and drinking, they're not seeing the seam on the inside. That's the way my weird brain, that's not even something that you have to consider. It's just like in my brain, that makes sense to me. So I'm going to offset. I'm going to keep my XL rim cone in here just because this is still a little soft. I'm going to try to do it with that guy in there. So I'm just going to offset probably about 2.5 inches to the right. And I did this earlier. This is a little sweetheart shape, which I think I actually like that size. So I'm not going to even cut much off. I'm going to just slice a little bit off to expose some fresh clay on my handle here. So I'm just going to follow the angle of the mug. And I will show you how I roll the clay from the handle down to create a coil, a cheater coil. Uh-oh, I'm a shortcut person. Not everyone is, and that's okay. But some of us kind of do that.
nothing wrong with shortcuts at
You
all.
know, I'm like, I think you got to find what works for you in your studio. Okay, so that, and my handle is still a little bit pliable, so I'm going to squish it in so it feels good. And I'm going to do a balancing act and do this. I'm going to mark where my handle is going to set. So bottom and top. So I've got that. You don't have to measure. Some people just attach the top part first and then where the bottom hits. When I pull my handles off the mug, that's what I do. I attach just the top and then wherever my bottom hits, I'm happy with that. But when I'm attaching this slab built handle, which is honestly just a thin strip cut from the same pattern that my body was, and then I took my saran wrap or my press and seal, put it over the clay, and I just beveled in the edges there to keep them nice and soft. And that's the extent of that handle making. I think it's cool to see how different people do their handles. I'm going to score both sides. And then this is where I really love the vinegar because it grabs, it's just like it's glue and it just grabs on and I'm able to get a really nice join. So I'm going to put vinegar on both of my little handle spots here. I kind of wish I had a cushion here to, I would normally have something soft in front so I can set this down. So I'm going to line up the top first and I'm going to shimmy this handle until I can feel the clay grab. So it starts grabbing on for dear life. And then I know that I've got a good attachment up there. Same thing with this bottom. Before I apply any pressure, I'm losing my little top. Before I apply any pressure there, I want to make sure that I'm in line, that looks good. Oh, it almost matches
No, it's in a great place, I
pattern.
think.
That was a happy
like
accident. I totally did that on purpose.
No, you say I meant to do that. Say
look at me.
just...
Look at how I do things. I shock myself. I'm like, look what I just made. I can't believe I did that. Okay, so I'm squeezing, or I'm shimmying back and forth until I can really feel that clay grab. And then once I feel it grab in there, I'm going to apply a little more inward pressure. Now, my clay's a little soft, so I'm not going to give it too much. But if this were leather hard, I could push this in a little bit more. My rim cone is helping to keep some tension, so I'm not caving this side in. But I am going to walk on the wild side and take this out so I can show you guys how I get into these little cracks here. So I wouldn't normally, let me get my pin tool. I wouldn't normally handle this so much. Sorry, babe, can you slide me that pin tool there? At this soft stage. So just make sure you're not, if you're deflating your mug, if you're really kind of squishing your mug about, it's probably not time for the handle yet. Just let it sit up for a little bit longer. So I'm going to come in here with my pin tool. The needle tool is the easiest way that I have found to do this. Let me see if I can get you guys in there. And what I do is I end up rolling some clay from the top of my handle down. And I think what I'll do is I'll come and do it down here so you can see a little bit better. Always keep a wet sponge close so you can get some of those schnibbies off. So what I am doing is I am grabbing clay from the handle and I'm bringing it down to smooth it in. So I am filling in that little crack and I'm also just compressing that. You are more than welcome to add a coil here at this point. I do it sometimes if I have a really thin attachment. I'm not all the way anti-coil. I just kind of like doing this so I don't have to do that extra step. But maybe you love coiling. Maybe it's your passion. That's okay. Right. So that's really what I do all the way around. And then I'll do it up here. You won't be able to see. Oh, just kidding. Maybe you can. See how I surprised myself?
We can see.
And the needle tool is really excellent for this because it gets into a really thin point where the attachment is. And I'm also picking up all that extra slip. So on the top here, I'm going to roll the clay. And then I'm really caring for the texture all the way around. So as I'm doing this, I'm making sure that I'm not completely disrupting. But where you're attaching, where your joins are, where your seams are, you are going to lose a little bit of texture. Nobody cares. I've had 0 people ask me why the texture is not there. And the glaze will pool there naturally anyway, which is nice. So, and that is how I put my little slab handle on.
Nice. Question about the mugs in the background. What blue glaze is that? It's fabulous.
I love glaze questions. This is stoned denim, but the one, babe, we can probably we'll go head on so you guys can see it all.
They're different, right?
They are. Yep. And I'll show you the difference. Man, if you don't have a rolling chair in your studio, I don't even know how you get things done. I'm just like zipping around all day long.
I know. I've had an old rolling chair in my studio forever.
Old rolling chair.
Yeah. Mine was an old office chair that the back broke off.
Yeah. This is like an IKEA chair. Yeah.
It was a $5 Staples clearance chair I got like 25 years ago. It's great. It's a good chair.
I got this chair in 2002, my freshman year, when I went off to Green Bay. And it's still the best chair I have.
They last forever.
They did. Oh, you know what? Just kidding. I'm going to make Scott work so he's not sleeping. We're going to switch again so you can see up close. So I wonder if, I don't know if this light is going to pick up
the difference
between.
Yeah, slightly. Bit. One's a little brighter blue.
This is blue rutile and this is stone denim. So the stone denim just kind of has those greens in there just a little bit.
Nice.
And then the blue rutile is just those little floating kind of pooling areas of the blue. So really subtle. I use them both still because I can tell enough of a difference, but maybe on the inside it's a little more obvious where it's green and blue. Yep, that's that. So blue rutile, Amico, and the Mako
stone denim. So if you're Mako, stone denim. Yep. If you're Amico, blue, I say rutile. It's like tomato, whatever.
Majolica, Majolica.
Majolica. There's actually a difference between Majolica and Majolica. I did a whole bunch of history research, so we're not going to talk about that tonight.
No, but there is a difference. You're right. So,
but another day, we talked about that at dinner. Actually, I'm so sorry I did that lecture to everybody.
That's interesting.
So, side note. Debbie from De La Design Gifts does have a spoon cutter. She's got a couple spoon cutters if folks are interested. So I'm tossing that out there so folks can go look and find them.
I think it's similar to the metal one.
I think so too.
I think it's close to this size.
She's got one that's like the Chinese soup spoon that Joni designed. I think it's Joni. She said she designed it. Johnny designed it.
So it's got that really deep, like that steep. Okay, that's lovely.
That's a cool one.
That is a cool one. So I would say this spoon would be good for like the petite, for that smaller cutter. But anything larger, flopping my spoons around here.
I mean, I just want to make some chocolate ones because.
I know. So this is the largest one I use. That's not right. Oh, it is. Look at how it shrinks. I'm like, that can't be right. So this guy, but this one I think would be a good size for the large, and maybe even for the size down from here for ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you need a giant spoon for ice cream.
So too. The ladle. Who said that there was a ladle? Oh, ladle stilts. That was different.
They're just so ladle stilts are little stilts that you can get for your kiln. They're kiln furniture, and they are
Is that what I have? The 3 points.
Yeah, 3-prong things. Those are kiln stilts.
I didn't know that that's what they were called ladle, but that's the.
I think some people call them ladle ones, but they're used for everything. Might be big ones for ladles. I really don't know.
I have an assortment. I have a lot of those.
I do too. So, I do like them.
If you're really brave, sometimes I can balance it just on one because, I start running out and I get desperate and I'm like, maybe this will work.
I've done that where I've bridged objects across multiple stilts.
Yep.
Don't do that.
I have done that with the spoons. The spoons I think you can get away with because a little bit of unevenness, I don't think it's a big deal. But yeah, anything that's bigger, I wouldn't do that. I would not recommend. But I have done that where they'll share out. I will cross and kind of, everyone's doing the puzzle in there when I'm doing my Tetris, my kiln Tetris. These could be good matcha. As I'm holding them, like maybe I won't put handles.
Matcha latte would be nice.
People love matcha. I might not put handles on these. I kind of like that.
My mom, who has arthritis in her hands, has a difficult time holding mugs from handles.
We were going to do double handles, remember?
We were going to do double. We haven't. Well, you know what? We're still breathing. I mean,
2026 is our year
for the double handle. We talked about that early in the year.
That was just this. That was that Glacier.
Was that Glacier?
Felt longer. That felt longer.
We'll do that next. Maybe Glacier Con this year. What are you doing? You got double plans handles for this year's Glacier Con?
I wanted to talk to you about that, but I don't know if we should talk all the way out loud.
Oh, we're not going to talk out loud. We'll talk after. Everybody else.
I do have some ideas. We have some fun ideas. But
I want to run it by you first. I gave the dates for Clay. Okay, we'll do that. So Alex is at alexandriapotteryco.com.
Yes,
you can find her on Instagram at Alexandria Pottery Tools.
Yep.
You can follow her there.
Same deal.
Or Facebook. She has on her website, she has the tools, the bundles where you can save, tutorials, the extras, which is templates, and a store locator where you can buy your products because you have stores that carry your products. So
fun. I know that's been exciting. We do have a Glacier bundle.
Yay.
And we do have our code for members.
For members.
For Prime.
Awesome.
Yep. So, but there is a Glacier bundle for the cappuccino that Scott set up and put up there because he loves it.
Thank you, Scott. Awesome. So many great things. Well, thank you for joining us tonight and doing this fabulous cappuccino. It's very seasonal and appropriate.
What fun we had.
I know. We always have a good time though.
It's fun.
I know. All right. Stay tuned. Stay around. You and I'll chat after.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
So wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Another great demo with Alex. She has done many with us. And if you enjoyed this, if you go on ClayShare and you search Alexandria Pottery Co., you can find all of her tutorials. I think we actually have it by instructor. So you can just start typing Alex, A-L-E-X, and then the rest of her name will show up. And then you click, and then you can see all the videos she's done with us. So you can get a whole bunch there. But definitely go check out her website and all the products that they make and have available. She has so many great ideas, so many time savers, so many things that just make your job easier at making pottery. Like, she's got something for you, so check it out. I just want to throw this out there. Wheel throwers, I know we've done a lot of hand building lately. We're going to have some wheel throwing coming up. But if you're watching this and you're like, I want a cappuccino mug, where's the wheel throwing? Well, it's there on ClayShare. So go, search up cappuccino. If you can't spell that, spell mug, and you'll see it under wheel throwing. You know what? You could just type up throwing, and you'll get all the throwing. You could type wheel and see what you get. I don't know, you could have a really good time playing with the search function, but we have a lot of wheel throwing classes on there. I don't want you to be left out. I do have a wheel throwing spoon class too. So if you're a wheel thrower and you're watching all these hand-built spoons and you're like, oh, that's just hand builders get everything. Well, not true. You got a spoon class. And I don't know if I did the ladle for you all, but I do have a wheel throwing ladle, or I will throw ladles, but I don't know if I taught that class. So if not, I will have to do that for you. So I do want to send a huge thank you to Diane, who sent me these fabulous gluten-free brownies. Yes, I'm going to go make a cup of peppermint tea and have one of these. I guess I won't be eating dinner. I'll just have brownie. That's okay. You can do that. There's not going to be a prime time tonight. I will post a bit in ClayShare so you folks will see what's happening. I will have a little video going up tomorrow for premium members. It's a little tutorial on making a platter that has this really fun handle design that I've started doing. So that will be available for you all to watch tomorrow. So the replay for this will be available shortly. And if you have any questions at all, you can always reach out to me at ClayShare. It's jess@clayshare.com. Or if you have technical questions, we have a fabulous support team at ClayShare who's there to help you out. A huge thank you to Alex and Scott for doing the camera there, for joining us tonight for Live at 5. And I will see you all maybe next Wednesday. I'm going to be getting back late Tuesday from Boston, but maybe I'll pop in and see how y'all are doing. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And until we meet again, make great pots. Bye, everybody.